Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video this evening, and I hope you have been enjoying your Thursday. And so we're going to be looking at this disturbance in West 97L, which has the potential to trigger some additional rainfall across Jamaica and will eventually bring all that moisture and all that activity into Central America, which is already being pounded by heavy rains ahead of a front in the area. So we'll be taking a look at that and let's get straight into it. So first things first, here is this surface chart. Now it might be a little bit confusing, but here we go. So there is that orange broken line that is representative of a trough, and it is a prefrontal trough. There we can see it ahead of that front. Now that front is no longer a cold front. It is stationary because it is, as the name suggests, it's not moving. It has stalled within the area. So when we see it with these blue triangles and those red semicircles, that is representative of a stationary front out there. So in the Caribbean, that is what it is, and ahead of that boundary is a lot of activity across some areas. So let's go on to this satellite imagery, and here we can see that there is quite a bit of activity in sections of the Caribbean, the Bahamas, earlier in the Turks and Caicos Islands, even for parts of Cuba and going into Central America. I have seen the comments from you guys from Belize talking about all that heavy rain and even flooding across some areas, and more of that is on the way as the disturbance drifts toward the west. So all this associated activity will be continuing into the vicinity of Central America. So areas such as Belize and even going to other areas such as parts of Guatemala, the islands offshore of Belize, Honduras, and the Bay Islands of Honduras, there could be quite a bit of rainfall. I mean, for other areas such as Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, there will be some heavy rains as well, even flood triggering rains across some areas. But as all the associated activity with that disturbance continues to drift toward the west, there is going to be a lot more rainfall on the horizon. So we'll talk more about the disturbance in a moment, but let's head on to some other areas to see what's happening. As we head into the vicinity of the ABC Islands, we're not seeing where there's a whole lot going on this afternoon, but we can certainly see that there is a lot for parts of Colombia, Venezuela, even going into the Guyanas. We're seeing some activity popping up here and there. Similar story as we head toward Trinidad and Tobago, especially in the western part of the country. And then as we head up into Grenada, also seeing all that activity nearby. For other islands, though, there isn't a whole lot compared to what's happening further south, but a bit of activity moving through here and there regardless. As we head toward the Virgin Islands and most of Puerto Rico, similar story again. We're not seeing a whole lot, maybe some passing showers and brief thunderstorms moving through. As we head toward Hispaniola, same story. And then as we head, as I said earlier, into the Bahamas, there is some activity there. It's also quite breezy, especially across the northern Bahamas, going to parts of Cuba as well. And there are some below average temperatures. So with these fronts moving down, they bring with them some cooler than normal temps. Nothing too dramatic, but that is a plus. I mean, it has been a very hot year for some of us, so the cooler temperatures will be welcomed, especially as we head into the next couple of weeks and through to the winter season. But in terms of Jamaica, there has been some rainfall across some areas, but it has been a rather gloomy day for most of us with some intermittent showers. Similar story likely for the Cayman Islands. So you can leave what's happening for your area down in the comments. But there may be some additional showers as we head through the rest of today and through tonight across Jamaica. Now let's talk more about the disturbance. So that formation chance remains at 20% for the 2 p.m. update. It was at 20% in the 8 a.m. update earlier today, and it retains that chance for this afternoon. And so this still has a very small window of opportunity to try to develop into something. It is not in a hostile environment right now. It's just very disorganized and not really consolidating into something. And it has very limited time because it will be moving inland as we head to this weekend. Regardless, though, it is going to be producing the aforementioned heavy rains across some areas. There will even be that possibility of those mudslides, landslides across sections of Central America as we head into this weekend due to the system's passage. So a lot of heavy rainfall is on the way. And as I spoke about conditions, let's go ahead and look at this map here. There we can see it, the dry air that is marked by those shades of yellows, oranges, and reds across the Gulf and off the East Coast, and even coming into the Caribbean from the Atlantic. There we can see some of those shades of yellows. And with a lot of dry air, we typically don't see much development, but in the Caribbean where that disturbance is, that is really not much of a problem right now. And even looking at the wind shear map, where we're seeing those green lines is where there's more conducive upper level winds to actually allow for the system to develop. But again, it is still pretty disorganized. And again, in terms of the sea surface temperatures, very warm, very favorable to support development. So let us see if it wants to do anything last minute and really try to quickly become a named storm or even a depression. But as I said, regardless, it will be producing those conditions across sections of Central America as we head to this weekend. So guys, please stay safe. But for now, there is some rainfall activity across the Caribbean, down in the southeast, as we can see all that convection, and even over in the western part of the basin. And so as usual, I'll keep you posted, and that is pretty much it for this update. So I hope you found it to be quite informative. A bit shorter than my typical updates, but that is what I have for you guys this evening. So I hope you found it to be quite informative, as I said. And if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you once I get the chance to do so. And remember to be weatherwise.